Today I've got an interesting repair to show you. It says, "Hi, I saw your video about repairing an iWatch Series 4 that had water issues inside. I was in Costa Rica last week and swam in the ocean with my watch, and now my watch won't start anymore. And if I try to charge it, it gets warm. Unfortunately, I no longer have Apple Care on this watch, and if I want to repair it, they will charge me $399. I was wondering if you offer repair service for a more reasonable fee." And the answer is yes. Now, one of the things that Apple states with their Apple Watches is that they are not covered for water damage. And that's why they basically charge you for a new watch when you go in with a water damaged watch. They're not going to fix it, they're just going to replace it. And they're going to charge you at least $400 for a replacement. Now, I've already opened this watch to assess the damage, and that's where we're going to start this video. So I've got this Apple Watch. It's a Series 4 40mm stainless steel, and it went through the ocean. I've taken it all the way apart. You can kind of see, I bet you the water came in maybe through the screen, but it definitely got some rust over there in that area next to kind of where the loudspeaker goes. And you can see kind of the chaos that it caused on the crown flex cable here, along with the power button, and on the actual motherboard itself, the devastation, annihilation of these two connectors. One of those connectors just happens to be on the end of the display digitizer and NFC flex cables, which will require quite a bit of soldering. Each one of those gold circles needs to make solid contact with a pad on the motherboard. And the other connector I've pulled from a donor board, which is probably where I'm going to get the crown replacement for as well. Now, the back of this watch is also cracked, but I think that it still works. And based off of looking at the screen here, I don't see any sign of damage to it from the liquid, which is good. There was no real corrosion on the Taptic engine. But yeah, we've got a couple components here to replace. See if we can get it working again, like the power button flex cable, which also has the microphone and then the data port as well. And I will be needing to replace the crown sensor as well, as that connector is toast. It's got a sensing plate that senses the rotation of the crown, and those three solder joints that are connected to an internal button that senses the clicking of the crown. And the battery seems to be in pretty good shape as well. They always crinkle a little bit on extraction, but I don't see any corrosion coming out from the battery. It should be good as well. You can see one of those connectors just basically corroded off. See, both sides are actually connected there. There are two hidden screws behind these black stickers. I can peel back that sticker. It's corroded on, which is making it want to kind of stick some more than normal. Hold that down. There's one. And then the other one I've already unscrewed. Put it all the way. There we go. And we can gently pull that out along with the microphone. You can see how it literally corroded the connector off. Let's see if I can separate it. It literally just fell apart. Can peel that button away and get our brand new button. Line up those little two pegs. Now for the crown, there's a little hook back here. You need to push down. Unhook. I'm going to bend that guy back a little bit. There's two stickers that cover up the solder joints. There's one and two. So there's the 1, 2, 3 solder joints, and the flex cable goes under, back up. You can kind of see how there's a little bracket here. There, you can see if I pull on it, the unit starts to come out. I've got some adhesive that holds it in, and we need to remove these solder joints in order for it to want to freely come out. I'm going to take a little scraping tool here, just gently get under the flex cable and wedge it in there. And I'll take my soldering iron and we'll loosen up those joints. There, that folds down, and we can extract the rest of the damaged crown. You can see the number that did on that flex cable. And it's biting me. And you can see the rust, the corrosion, the oxidation there. Hopefully it didn't get inside the crown unit, because that's a little harder to replace. Alright, so for this connector, it looks so bad, I'm going to go ahead and remove it. It's a pretty straightforward procedure. I'm going to add some flux. I'll take my soldering iron and carefully, by putting a little bit of tension on the cable, warm it up and slowly peel it off, ensuring that I'm not tearing any of the pads that it's soldered to on the motherboard. There, all the pads look like they're still good. With some isopropyl alcohol. We'll get our new connector, and as you can see, there are these little gold crosses. We're going to line it up with these gold squares, and you should be able to see barely poke out on each kind of one of the cutouts of the cross, the corner of the squares. We'll add some flux. Add some good amount of pressure to the flex cable, make sure it's nice and tight against the logic board. Now that I'm confident that I've got the solder joints good, I'm going to add some extra solder to beef up the solder joints themselves. And there we go, nice and solid. Alright, I'm going to put back the protective sticker and try to get it lined up. You can see this connector is bad, and unfortunately that means I need to remove all of this. So, I mean, there's a chance that I could try to fix those pads on that connector there, or on the flex cable there, but no, it's going to be much easier just to replace the whole flex cable. My tweezers aren't wanting to grab it. There we go. And then the same removal process that we did on the other one is the same here. We'll just add some flux, give the cable a little bit of tension. Just like that. I like to go back over them just to make sure all the pads are good. Repairing these pads is not the end of the world, but they're really small, so it's really annoying to have to repair them. Alright, to clean them, same process. You get a microfiber cloth, a clean room wipe, and that flux that was on there wasn't too bad. It was enough that I think it's a good idea to clean it. And I'm going to also remove any of the old adhesive that was holding the flex down on the edge. Alright, we'll add some flux and spread that out all over all of the pads. Now I've lined up that window. We'll move on down towards the other side.
Cause you're trying to stay strong and fake a smile until I look away. But I've known you too long, it hurts to.
Alright, I'm happy with that. Took me a second to get it aligned the way I wanted it to, but now I know that we're solid. You can actually see the solder through the holes. So now what I'll do is add some compression.
Cause every time I wake up I feel like it's Monday. Something's going wrong with all the chemicals up in my brain. All of a sudden I don't look at anything the same way. Gotta build up of my thoughts sitting in an ashtray. I'm sorry that I'm so inconvenient, okay. Just let me be me and I'll stay out of your way. I can see the way you look at me, I'm such a disgrace. I never really asked to be brought into this place. You wanna love me? Well then baby I have a taste. All the highs and the lows, no you'll never be the same. I don't really wanna hurt you but I can't control the pain. If you're sticking by my side.
Alright, so now I've got the new crown, flex cable. Carefully pry back the retaining bracket here. I'm gonna bend this bracket out of the way real quick. There. And it's wanting to go in now.
Why you never said you felt that way? Guess you're trying to stay strong and fake a
The struggle is real. Come on, go in.
hurts to watch your blue eyes fade to gray as you fade away.
There we go. Finally wanted to kind of slip down in there. Now I just gotta put back the little rubber piece here that helps the bracket compress the sensor into place. There we go. And then we'll bend the bracket back. And we'll clip the bracket back in place. There we go. Brackets click back into place. And now we can solder.
I'm going through hell, I fake like I'm fine, but I know you can't tell. Like nothing I found, my mind overwhelms. I think that I'm broken, but I hope you can't help. I know I'm not perfect, but some days I feel bored or worthless. Baby, you make me feel nervous. If I still have you, I have purpose. It's all worth it.
I know you told your friend you're not okay.
And there we go. Now it's back in. All right, let's try to put back these little protective stickers best we can. Here we go. Kind of not perfect, but works. I think I should do what I can to kind of clean up these areas.
Fade away. As you fade away. As you fade away.
All right, let's put back the button now. Now the tricky part is just getting this button to want to stay in place while you screw it down. There we go. Grab our other screw. Make sure those are tight, and then we also get that nice click. Now you see how there's that slight bulge to it. Take that out and flip the button around and then put it back again. Now you can see it's flush. It's no longer sticking out just a little bit. It's a small detail and it would have worked either way. But it's something getting caught, just feeling the lip there before would one of those little details you shouldn't miss. We can now flip this over, flip these up. Now you need to make sure that this has the rubber gasket on it. Push that in there nice and tight. Line this up And we'll put back the 2 screws that go with it. And there's number 2. It's time to put back the motherboard. Make sure it clicks all the way. We're going to avoid smashing that cable down under it. We also have to maneuver the board under this flex cable, the crown. You can now connect the power button. There we go. And now we can connect the crown. Put back the bracket for the microphone. So you put back the bracket for the buttons. Now we can put back the bracket that holds down this side of the logic board, the frame. This sticker just doesn't want to stay. Now we need to reconnect the force touch. It kind of folds at a 90 there and then clicks in. There it goes. Alright, we'll reconnect this antenna here and put back the bracket. Alright, let's put back the speaker. And there's the last of the 3 screws. To connect the speaker. Let's install the Taptic engine. And then our gold screw. We'll connect this coax cable. Connect up the Taptic engine there. Put back the retaining bracket and screw. Put back the sticker and the bracket. There we go. There we go. Reconnect the battery. Alright, we'll install the battery bracket and reseat the battery. Make sure those stickers aren't inside the connector at all. Alright, I peeled back that sticker, so it's kind of holding these flex cables on its own. Typically it holds the flex cables kind of where they naturally want to go, but because they're brand new, they haven't been properly aligned with each other according to this screen, because it's not like the display, the digitizer, or the NFC connector are always perfectly aligned, the same as there are 3 separate components that have to be somewhat aligned. Now that I have it all aligned, I can get all of the connectors nice and seated. Now they're all inside or nice and tight. We'll put down flaps, and now I can push down the sticker. If we've done everything right and this battery has some juice, then it should turn on. Nope. Let's go plug it in. All right, this is my first time plugging it in to see if it's gonna work. And look at that Apple logo. Let's see if it'll come all the way on. Oh, yeah. So it should come on. Obviously the battery's dead. That's why it didn't come all the way on. Let's let this charge for a while and see what happens. See if I take it off, see how it stays on. That means that the battery is going to work. I just need to leave it on the charger for a while. So we'll check back in a little bit. All right. Yeah, it looks like we are on. Let's see if touch works. like the crown works. I'm gonna see if I can get the passcode so we can test the other features. While I wait for the passcode, I'm gonna go ahead and close this watch up. I've got a good feeling about everything working. And if I have to open it back up, it won't be a big deal. This is a cold press adhesive. I'll have a link where you can get it in the description below. Once it's fully cured, it has somewhat of a bounce to it. It's extremely strong, which will allow functions to still work, like the force touch, but it will also keep the watch together. And I'm not claiming that this watch is going to be water resistant at all, due to the fact that water got into it in what looked like several other places other than the screen. But at least I know I've got a pretty decent seal there with a nice bead of glue around the border. I'll clean any of that squeeze out. There wasn't much, but easiest to do it now while it's still in a liquid form. A nice finish. Can you hear me? So as you can see, water, especially salt water, can do quite a bit of damage to components. Luckily, the water was fairly isolated, at least where it was doing the damage, and was fixable. With quite a bit of work, but it's worth it. Thanks a ton for watching. I hope you learned something. We'll see you in the next video.